They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past.
25 years from now, you're going to want to say, I was there when Ken Griffey Jr. made his home debut. So don't forget that on Monday night. There's a drive into the gap in left center field and deep left center field, and Henderson's not going to get to it. It's off the base of the wall, and Griffey to second base in his first major league at bat, a ringing double off the 375 marker, and we have seen that all spring. Welcome to the show, Ken Griffey Jr.
Of course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it. Greatest money they have, and peace they lack.
A man all alone with himself, but not all alone here, as 24,000 incredibly rabid Mariner fans are looking for that final strike. That will set Mariner history. Here comes the left-hander's wind. The 0-2 pitch on the way. Swing! It's over! He has done it! High fastball, Randy Johnson.
Walk out to the bleachers. Sit in shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. They'll find they have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines where they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes. And they'll watch the game. And it'll be as if they'd dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick they'll have to brush them away from their faces.
Terrence Long is lead over at first. Here comes a 3-2 pitch on the way. Swung on and a ground ball punched into right field for a base hit. So heading to third base is Long. The throw to third base, and they've got him nailed at third base on a tremendous throw by Ichiro. I'm here to tell you that Ichiro threw something out of Star Wars down there at third base. He fired a shot about 3 feet off the ground all the way on the fly to David Bell, and Terrence Long was DOA. And now Sasaki is set. And now the right-hander is to the plate with the 0-2 to A-Rod. Swing! And a foul tip into the glove of Dan Wilson, who hangs on to it. And no baseball team in history has ever won more games than the Seattle Mariners.
One constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again.
2-1 pitch to Junior. Swung on line to the right field for a base hit. Around third, here comes Bradley. Junior has won the ball game.
Now the left-hander ready. Branding iron hot. The 1-2 pitch. K inserted. It's over right over the heart of the plate. Randy looks to the skies. That is covered by the dome.
Baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again. Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come.
They would love a base hit into the gap, and they could win it with Junior speed the stretch. And the 0-1 pitch on the way to Edgar Martinez. Swung on and lined down the left field line for a base hit. Here comes Joy. Here is Junior to third base. They're going to wave him in. The throw to the plate will be late. The Mariners are going to play for the American League Championship. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh my. Edgar Martinez with a double. Ripped down the left field line, and they are going crazy at the Kingdom.
opening day to everyone. God, it's a special time and year. I get all giddy with opening day. Mariner season is here. We got a great show for you planned today, our opening day show. It's a long one. It is a long one, but I promise you, we've got some of the best baseball guests that any show has. Today, you're going to start off hearing from Bill Krueger. The big lefty is back for one more year, talking Mariners baseball with us throughout the week. He'll be on every Monday. Big thanks to all Aces Concrete and Coating and Bo and his crew for being a part of the Daily Puck Drop and Puck Sports this year. So Bill Krueger, will start you off with Bill. He'll give you his thoughts on how the Mariners are going to go, his concerns, his praise, and you know what, with Bill, never short on opinion. And then we'll have our GM, Jim Duquette, former Major League Baseball GM with the Mets and the Orioles, now working for Sirius XM Radio. He will join us to give the overall view from a national perspective on the Mariners and other storylines in baseball. Can't thank Andy Largent and Flatstick Pub enough for their support going into year 3. That's what it's amazing. Year 3 that we have started the Daily Puck Drop and Puck Sports. And Flatstick Pub and Andy Largent have been there from the get-go. And they want to tell you their Pioneer Square location, Flatstick Pub, is open for kids before the games. So if you're heading down to watch the M's play this weekend, go to Flatstick Pub there in Pioneer Square. Grab a couple of beers, some great food, play some games with the kids. Now open for kids, the Flatstick Pub location there in Pioneer Square. Then after Jim Duquette, Brad Adam. Root Sports is gone, but Brad is still here, now working for Mariners TV. I'm glad that Brad is still on the call and still reporting from T-Mobile Park and still going on the road with the team. And also proud to announce that John Howie Steak is back, bringing you Brad Adam with us every single week. You're going to get Brad on Tuesdays, by the way. We're flip-flopping Brad and Jim Duquette. Brad will be on Tuesdays and Duquette will be on Thursdays, but Brad is back, and great sense of humor, great perspective on the team, good insight being on the road with these guys. And big thanks to John Howie Steak for stepping up one more time. Just like our Flatstick Pub, John Howie's been with us from the get-go. Great steak, great service. Get back into fine dining, folks, all right? Stop eating at home. Stop eating takeout. Put on a nice jacket, some nice pants, dress up, and take out the lady and go visit John Howie Steak, johnhowiesteak.com. We wrap up our opening day show with Mr. Sunshine. Last year at this time when we did this show, he did it for about 2 weeks. Then he went on his sabbatical to coach his stepson's travel ball team there in Havre, Montana. But he's back in Seattle covering the Mariners, open up the season full-time. And you know who else is back? Reggie Frederick and Chalet Bull. Chalet Bull back bringing you Ryan Divish every single week with us. Of course, part of the Pucks Posse. You can sign up at pucksports.com. Divish got boots on the ground. For my money, no one does it better in covering this team, giving you the insight, having a trust and relationship with the players that allows him to get information that no one else can get. And that's why he's the best. He's a dear friend of mine for a long, long time. He never hesitates to say yes to do this. Says no to others, which I appreciate. It's not needed, but I appreciate him coming on every week, and I appreciate his friendship, and I appreciate all the sponsors. Could not do this baseball season without him. Could not do it. Big thanks again to all Aces Concrete and Coating. Bo, thank you for jumping on board. John Howie Steak. John Howie, thank you for doing it. Andy Largent, I'll probably tear up. I cannot thank you enough because you were one of the very first people. The second we did this, and I said I was leaving, you were on board, and you never hesitated, and you didn't look back, and you stuck with us. That stuck with me from the get-go. So I'm always indebted to you, Andy. So thank you to Flatstick Pub and Reggie Frederick as well at Chalet Bull. Just the same deal. Always have supported with us there from the get-go. All right, I will stop talking and rambling, all right? I'll stop it. You're probably not done tearing up after that open. That open, it always gets good. You may be asking, why aren't there new highlights in it? Because I want to hear Niehaus. That's all I want to hear. No disrespect to the other broadcasters, but when I get ready for baseball season, I want to hear the best that ever did it, and that is the great Dave Niehaus. That's why the highlights are all Dave. All right. Again, lineup. Bill Krueger leads us off. Hitting in the 2-hole, Jim Duquette. Hitting third, strikes out a lot, but that's okay, Brad Adam. And hitting cleanup, Ryan Divish. Our opening day show special right here starts now on Puck Sports.
You're a homeowner in Seattle or one of the surrounding high-end neighborhoods and your garage still feels unfinished, there's usually a reason that matters. Bare concrete stains, cracks, and never really looks clean. And every time you walk through it, it feels like the one part of your home you never actually finished. At All Aces Concrete Coatings, we install Pentex Polyurea. It's like epoxy, but 4 times stronger. Slip resistant and backed by a lifetime warranty. And with 0% interest financing available and up to 24 months, you don't have to pay everything up front. We are certified installers with over 9 years of experience of construction, and we've fully prepped the concrete with no shortcuts. Hit the link below to see a real price range estimate for your garage.
Back, ladies and gentlemen, old school baseball, Bill Krueger. We're happy to have him back for another year of talking Mariners baseball. It's great to have you. You are a hit. People love you. They can't wait to get enough of you every year. And they were screaming. They were pounding down my door. I was emails, texts, phone calls. When's Krueger on? When does he start? And I'm like, hey, I've got to go through people that go through people to get to another person that finally gets to Krueger. And we broke down the walls to get you on. So thank you. Welcome back. Happy opening day of baseball week.
Yeah. This is, I think, one of the highlight weeks of the year. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, I mean, opening day is so historic and meaningful. The rites of spring, hope springs eternal, all those things that we've had that in our minds, and every team feels like it's their year. And that's what's so wonderful about it. And then they got to play 162, and those that are without their bathing suits when the tide comes in, that's the ones that get exposed. But I don't think this club is going to have any bathing suit problems. I'm telling you right now.
Well, we are thrilled to have you back on for another year. We're also thrilled to have a brand new sponsor, not only just a brand new sponsor for Bill Krueger, but a brand new sponsor here for the Daily Puck Drop and Puck Sports. And big thanks to Bo Dotson and his crew and everybody over there at All Aces Concrete Coatings. They're going to bring you old school baseball, Bill Krueger, all year long. If you're tired, if you're like me, okay, because I am. I've got an old school garage, and I'm tired of that garage. I'm tired of the floor on that garage. If you're like me and want that floor on your garage fixed, or any other concrete issues, patio issues, around your pool issues fixed, I'm going to tell you the guys there at All Aces Concrete Coatings are going to do it for you. Bo and the crew are going to take care of you. They specialize in high-quality epoxy castings and custom garage cabinets that turn your ordinary concrete into something extraordinary. Bo and his crew do garages, driveways, patios, pool decks, and basements. They're certified Pentec dealers, and every installer is professionally trained and certified by the manufacturer, and their products are backed by manufacturer's lifetime warranty. Go visit their website, allacesconcretecoatings.com, or give them a call, 206-472-0543. Just like they guarantee their work, Bill Krueger guarantees all of his opinions every single week as we talk baseball. You've got lofty expectations for these guys this year, no?
Oh yeah. I mean, when you're, an out away, or a one moment away from the World Series, you have to feel like, well, hope springs eternal for sure. That you're at the precipice. This is a club that had Brian Wu not suffered an injury and was not available really until the end of the playoffs. They play the Dodgers in the World Series. And oh, by the way, the Dodgers that are getting this whole idea that they're some kind of iconic team, give me a break. They shouldn't have won that series. Toronto outplayed them. And I think the Mariners get into a contest with the Dodgers. I don't think they'd have let them up for air. That's what I think. But, this is sort of the rite of passage. We've seen a lot of dynastic teams. I'm not saying the Mariners are dynastic, but teams that have to hit the wall first, and then they have this sort of aha moment where they realize that they're just so close and that they dig their heels in a little bit more. The club made more commitments to make the club better. That frontline pitching's intact. They've added to the lineup. They've got confidence. They've got leadership. I think everything's in place for them to chase down that first time to get to the World Series in Mariner history.
What gives you so much confidence in this year's team when you compile what they did maybe in the off season and then I guess being battle tested from a year ago?
Most of it's battle tested. I think lessons are learned. There was an unfortunate injury to your number one pitcher. Really weren't able to take most complete advantage of him. And then you play at the highest level, and you learn a lot when you do play at the highest level about where your mindset needs to be another notch up, and that you're now comfortable in that position of being the one that's being chased. And that's a different place. But this club has added a guy like Josh Naylor, signs a 5-year, $90 million deal. He, I think, represents the tip of the spear of this lineup. And I don't mean that from a performance standpoint. I'm talking about from a character standpoint. I'm talking about what it means to win every day kind of standpoint. But what makes this team such an odds-on choice to go to the World Series and win the AL is their frontline pitching. They have great frontline pitching. And they had 3 guys, or actually 4 guys out last year, and they still got there. So I think, yes, we can get into the details of the rotation, but I see 2 guys that could be number ones that have been to the All-Star game that didn't have great years last year that will be great this year. You add that to Brian Wu and Luis Castillo, and then whenever Bryce Miller comes back, and that's as good as there is across the game. And a little addition on the offensive side. Naylor signs a long-term deal. They get Brendan Donovan in a trade with St. Louis, another guy that's an all-fields, put-it-in-play guy that comes to play every day. And then, we can't forget the guy that hits 60 and the guy that plays center. So a lot to look at and say, wow, this is a pretty good team.
Let's go more into what Brendan Donovan brings to this team, Bill. A guy that gets on base. He's just kind of that old school baseball player, right? Gritty. His first thing when he addressed the media down in Peoria was like, I play like my hair is on fire. He just, every team kind of that you've probably played on had a guy like Brendan Donovan, didn't it?
Yeah, I think if you're going to win, you have to have a player that brings that energy, that brings that I can't wait to get on the field and get after you kind of energy that lifts the club. And he doesn't just do it with his voice. He does it with the way he plays the game, and then he can back it up. He's a high on-base percentage guy. He's going to hit 30-plus doubles. He's going to hit 280. He's going to get on base 340, 350. And he's a pro hitter. He knows how to hit in situations. And I think when you look at this club and add a Naylor and a Donovan to a team that has a lot of power, they're kind of looking for more all-fields guys that could hit in a spot, that add to the pressure that you're putting on the pitcher with a professional at bat, a walk, or just fouling off a ton of pitches, using the whole field. You mixed in some of those guys, those 2 guys in particular. That's really going to set the table for all the power the Mariners have. When you think about Raleigh, and you think about Rodriguez, you think about Rosarina, there's 3 guys in particular that have a lot of zoom.
What about a full year, a whole year? You brought him up in the beginning, but a full season of Josh Naylor and what he can provide.
Well, I think he's just a consummate leader, tough guy, makes others on the team better by just example. And he's just a smart guy. He's a smart player. He plays the game like there's no tomorrow. What we've learned about him is that he's an astute base runner. His percentage of stealing bases was incredible. But his defense, I think what I see is nobody plays further away from first base in the league than Josh Naylor. He covers ground. He plays as far out on the island as possible, depending on the hitter, and he always is able to get over to first to make the play. And he's got good hands. He covers a lot of ground. And then offensively, he's going to hit 300. He's going to hit 20 plus. He's going to drive in 90 plus, and he's going to get on base at a high percentage. And if you watch him during the playoffs, he's the one guy. There's a lot of hitters in the league that make their hay off the 4 and 5 starter in the front end of the bullpen. There's this guy, Naylor. He hits the best pitching. And I think that's a real definition of what it means to be a great hitter, is the guys that can hit the better pitchers in the league, and he's one of them.
Yeah, he's been such a great addition to this team. I mean, and you just saw it through, the last half of the season a year ago. You saw it certainly during the playoffs. I just think even in the WBC and the way he just carries himself, he's just. No player is perfect, Bill, but he's just this all-around very good offensive player, very good defensive player. The consummate professional, has fun, studies the game, student of the game. He's just the whole package. It's just guys like that make good teams, great teams, and championship teams. I just think that he has that DNA.
And it was clear that he wanted to be here. This wasn't just, this is the team that gave me the 1 extra year on my contract, or this is the team that gave me a little bit more per year, so I'm going to go to Seattle because of that. He made it clear that he loves playing here, that he sees this team as a championship team, that he loves hitting in T-Mobile Park. How many times have you heard that? I think it's really interesting. We went through this whole period of time. Now, granted, T-Mobile Park is a good pitcher's park, particularly the first 3 months of the season. It is. And even after they brought the dimensions in, it's still a pretty good pitcher's park. But if you think about our premium hitters that we've had over the history of T-Mobile Park, most of them have been right-hand hitters, and they've died on the vine because of left center. And then you realize that actually Griffey might have been wrong, that this park is conducive to left-hand pull hitter. Because look what Raleigh did. And Naylor sees it too, particularly the second half of the year. I mean, this park is not a bad place for a left-hand hitter who can pull the ball. And we've been punished by that because opponents have had all those guys and we haven't. It's like, hello, McFly, a left-handed pull hitter, a left-hand power hitter. Like, put it together. You've tried the Beltres, you've tried the Sextons. Hey, how about a lefty? Right? And so now with Raleigh and Naylor, those two guys, and then of course, you have to pay attention to what Canzone did last year. And he's got a chance to hit 20. And he's got the ability to hit the seats. So that helps. It puts pressure on right-hand pitching on the other team.
What do you think Cal Raleigh's follow-up act is?
I think this guy is wired for greatness. I think he takes and leaves no stone left unturned. He's a well-prepared, well-conditioned player. I think that it has to be somewhat of a shock to sort of digest what he did. But I think he's so much looking ahead and not caught up in what he's done already that I don't think it's going to bother him. I think he's realistic enough to realize that 60 is not something that anybody does every year. I mean, how many guys have hit 60, right? Maris, Ruth, and Judge. Notice who I left off that list. You know where I'm coming from then. We don't need to go into that discussion. But
that's why you're old school baseball.
Those are the three guys that have done it. They're all Yankees. So whatever. But I don't think that's what is in his head. He's more about how do I make myself better? Can I cut my strikeout rate down a little bit? Look what he did last year. One of the big reasons he had a great year is that he became more balanced. He hit 280 and slugged well over 600 against left-handed pitching. He got way better as a right-hand hitter. He was really balanced. In fact, his numbers right-handed, even though he didn't have as many at-bats, were better than his left-handed numbers. So can he hit higher than 247? He did for a while. Can he cut his strikeouts down? Yeah, but we don't want him to do that and lose who he is as a hitter. And then defensively, I mean, he fielded almost perfectly, no pass balls. That's his standard. I mean, if you want to nitpick at him, 21% throwout rate, it could be better. the elite guys, that the best in the league is doing it at about 30 to 40%. And a lot of that has to do with pitchers. And we got a power staff that isn't exactly quick to the plate. And so that doesn't help him. Okay. I'm not picking on his 21% throwout rate. I'm just saying that he's looking at that saying it can be better. Right. So I just think it's all those things. And then, how they manage his innings and his games is really important because he's a lot like Kyle Seager. You have to straitjacket him. You have to sneak up behind him in the locker room and you got to slip a straitjacket on him and actually cinch him down into a chair to take him off the field. I mean, it'd probably take more than a couple people to do it.
It's kind of like
he's a big boy.
Yeah, kind of like the A-Team when they would fly. If you ever watch the A-Team and they have to drug Mr. T, right, to get on the airplane. I think they're going to have to drug Cal Raleigh to keep him out of the lineup. Let me ask you this, since you have, you've sweated, you've bled in those clubhouses.
Yes.
Okay. Could there be any? I know they've both now put a statement out finally, just trying to squash what happened at the WBC, Randy and Cal. So that appears they've put that to bed, which is good. But do you think for Cal there could be any lasting effect of what transpired at the WBC that could carry over to the season? And the point being, he didn't have a great experience. I mean, he didn't play well. He was benched for the championship game. And, of course, the whole issue with the Rose Arena. Do you worry at all that could carry over into the regular season with him? Because I would imagine for the first time in his life, Bill, he was not playing and told we're going with a different guy over you.
Interesting choices that they made, and the fact that he didn't pitch hit. So what, Smith, because he plays for the Dodgers, is a better player? Oh, because they kept cycling through all their hitters. Eventually, somebody had to run into one against the soft end of the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen. I mean, give me a break. And you know what? Eduardo Rodriguez, left-handed starter. Oh, we can't play Cal. Really? We just went through his right-handed numbers. Did I stutter? Slugged .690 against left-handed pitching last year. Did I stutter? Did I stammer? Who's the better catcher? I think numbers say Cal. So, I guess, you got to play for the Dodgers as a popularity contest, I guess. I mean, the rationale behind anything is sort of lame. DeRosa didn't even know that they had to have a certain run quotient to get to the next round.
But I guess my question is, do you think his experience there could have any lasting effect at all to the regular season?
I think once he and Randy made peace, not that I ever think there was really more than I think we made it out to be more than it was.
Okay.
Because Randy just was emotional at the moment. I don't think they have an issue with each other. And Randy just is not a person that he's a quiet guy. Mm-hmm. And Cal's kind of quiet too. And I think they've made peace. They're good teammates. They like each other. I think it's going to be A-okay going forward. I don't think there's going to be any more problems. That's what I think.
Okay.
And I think what hurts Cal, and it hurts a lot of players, is the WBC it's just not in a good spot. As much as you love it, as much as the one and done, as much as it puts the world on stage and it's exciting, it's nationalism at its finest, it's all those kinds of things. Players have to go through a step-by-step progression to get ready for the season. It's good to be in your spring training facility where you've got time to work on stuff,
right,
and you can take it step by step and you get yourself ready to play, and you get to see the 95s and the 87s and the 76s and the 64s pitch against you, and you work your way into the season. Instead, you got to go there and you're seeing one guy at a time and you're seeing the best they've got, and you're not playing every day. That doesn't get you ready for the season.
Yeah.
I worry about all the players that play in that. I remember Teoscar Hernandez struggled with us after the WBC. And I think that I'm trying to remember the guy's name, the all-time, the great shortstop for Philadelphia. What's his name? Anyways, his name is escaping me right now. The shortstop for the Phillies. Really good player. Runs like the wind. Whatever his name is. He's a good player. He went to WBC and went into a horrific slump to start the season. I worry about all the players.
Trey Turner.
Yeah. This is real. That's why it's not put in the right spot. Because I was, and then you want to compete like heck, and then everybody's collared. Oh, don't play my guy too many innings. Oh, don't pitch my guy too many innings. Don't pitch my guy back to back. Then what are we doing?
Yeah,
playing for keeps or not?
I was just coming more of a mental thing, not where the game is played. That's a different discussion. That's not the road I was going down. More of just he was benched. He didn't have a good spring. He did not have a good experience there, and I wonder if it would carry it over. Well, hopefully it doesn't. Let's move on from that. A few more. Yeah. Cole Young has had a monster spring. Monster. 6 home runs. He's slugging over 660. OPS over 1,000. Boy, he really seems he has added power to his game, and what an addition that would be for this team, Bill, if you've got that at the bottom of your order.
Well, it's nice that he's got that kind of power, because that definitely creates a threat, and pitchers are aware of that when they face him, and that he can slug a little bit. In today's game, it means a lot to slug, because we don't play station-to-station baseball. As much as I would be more excited about, and not to say that he can't, be a little bit more willing to use the whole field and be a little more balanced. He showed stretches where he did that for a while. I think it's just maturation as a player. He's trying to figure out who he is. Last year was survival. I mean, I don't think he even had in his wildest dreams thought he would make the club and play. And then he was there, right? So he was probably a little too quick to the front of the biggest stage. So I think this year he's much more comfortable and ready to play in the big leagues. And if he can show some power, great. I just want him to play solid defense and have good at bats. He doesn't have to carry the team. So don't be a detriment. Don't get into a punch out fest. Don't start to struggle with balls that you can't handle. Nobody's asking him to be Roberto Alomar. Just make the standard play. So I'm excited to see how he does. I like him. I liked he and Williamson. Now Williamson's not here anymore, so we don't need to talk about him. But I liked them both. I mean, everybody's like, "Oh, we got to get veterans everywhere. We got to have all-stars. We got to spend $1 zillion." Well, I didn't really have a problem with the infield with those guys there. So, Williamson's gone. We got a better guy in that spot, but I'm a fan of Cole Young. I just want to see him go out and play and just be steady and get comfortable.
Julio Rodriguez, Bill, will enter his 5th year. He's just 25 years of age, and I think everybody around, it's unbelievable. People around baseball, both locally and nationally, feel like he's on the cusp of just having one of those seasons. Maybe not Cal Raleigh's season, but something to that degree. Are you getting that feeling with him?
It's hard for me to say because the script has been so well, worn. This whole start slow, all-star break sorted out, monstrous August, and then struggle at the end. I mean, that's kind of been what is. But when you take a look at the overall numbers, they're good. He had a much better year this last year than the year before. His home runs were up, I guess, another 10, and his average was a little higher, and he slugged a little bit more. He had a few more doubles. But I thought what he did last year, as I look at him, and to answer your question, he's so tantalizingly talented and has this great attitude about being a great player, as far as we can see, that there is why wouldn't you bet on him? What package is out there that's 6'4", 235 and is like a freight train running down the tracks? I mean, there just isn't anything like him out there. Ohtani's the closest thing, and Ohtani doesn't play the field. A big guy that can fly like that, right? And has all these tools. Is he on the precipice? What I saw the second half says he is, because he flattened his bat. He got on time in the fastball. He didn't chase quite as much. Whatever message it got through the layers of people that are talking to him, which is always a concern for me because he wants to be great. There's just sometimes too many messengers. I mean, too many chefs in the kitchen. All you need is one. There's one that's in particular I think he needs to listen to. The soft-spoken, unbelievable, generational right-hand hitter that's Latin, that's actually on the staff as the hitting coach. One of the greats of all time, that talks about what it means to be in the box and how to react and how to prepare for that day's pitcher. Not about launch angle, not about video, not about all that, statistical garbage, just about what it means to be in the box and make an adjustment and be on time. And he got on time. He flattened his bat and he got on time. He looked much better the second half. I'd like to see that carry forward, because when he was hot 2 years before, it wasn't because I saw an adjustment. He just got hot. and I saw a mechanical adjustment. He looked better the second half. And if he stays there, I think he gets off to a better start. And if he does, watch out, league, right? He might give you a 40-40 or a 50-50. And, my gosh, right? He just explodes in front of our eyes.
Well, I think it's almost there. I really do. I think he's real close to. I think he's real close to doing. He's been fantastic in the first 4 years. I think year 5 is going to be a big one for Julio Rodriguez. Ladies and gentlemen, big thanks to Bill Krueger. Old school baseball with Bill Krueger. He's with us every single week talking Mariners baseball. Big thanks to our new sponsor for Old School Baseball, Bill Krueger, All Aces Concrete Recordings. We're excited to have him back this year talking baseball. If you want something done to your garage, your pool deck, your basement, your patio, go reach out to Bo and the crew. There at allacesconcretecoatings.com. Give them a call, 206-472-0543. All right. Batting the hatches down. You and I, we're together here for the next 6-7 months every week. Okay, you ready for it?
I love it.
All right. World Series or bust for Bill Krueger. Thank you, Bill. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Puck.
If it's fun you desire, it's fun you're going to get at Flat Stick Pub. It doesn't matter what the occasion is, whether it's date night, guys night, ladies night, or large group event, Flat Stick Pub's got you covered. They have 6 great locations across the Pacific Northwest, from Pioneer Square to Kirkland, South Lake Union, Spokane, Bellingham, and Redmond. All locations offer the best pub experience in Washington. 2 rules at Flat Stick Pub: drink local and have fun. Pretty simple. So if you like to have fun, love local beer, and great tasting food, make Flat Stick Pub your next spot. Visit them at flatstickpub.com. Well, we've roped him in for one more year to talk baseball with us. He is our general manager. He is Jim Duquette. You can follow him on social media, Jim Duquette GM, former general manager of the Mets and the Orioles, analyst of MLB Network Radio and Sirius XM. You can see him also on SNY, Mass and MLB Network, everything. And, of course, you can watch and listen to him here at Puck Sports, and it's all brought to you by Flat Stick Pub. Big thanks to Andy Largent and the whole crew there at Flat Stick Pub. Great locations across the state, lots of TVs, great food, great games for the kids. It's great for large group events, and they want you to know with baseball season here that their Pioneer Square location now allows kids. So if you're heading to the game, looking for a great place a watering hole to grab a beer, something to eat before the game, the Flat Stick Pub location there in Pioneer Square, kids are now welcome. Man, Jim, it doesn't seem that long ago that we talked, and this is what happens when your team plays in the postseason, goes on a long run, right, to the ALCS. It's not much of an offseason for these guys, and we're right here, and we got the season getting underway this week. It's unbelievable how time flies.
It goes fast. It really does. I think anyone, and I've been doing the postseason now for Sirius for like 14 years, and it seems like every year when we go into spring training with the teams that were in the World Series or right there to the ALCS and NLCS, every single player will go, wow, that winter went really quickly. And, I think the one thing, is we've found over the last at least 10 years, the teams are really, really cautious and careful about workloads early in the spring so that they're, relatively healthy as you get through March and you get closer to opening day. We've seen that with Seattle. We've seen it with, pretty much every team around. And it was a little different because you had the WBC, the World Baseball Classic, and I know the Mariners had a ton of guys in it too. So that didn't help with their winter either.
Well, it wasn't the best WC experience, I think, for anyone associated with the Mariners. Would we agree with that?
I would agree. Yes, I would say it was not the greatest. And, I got a little update on that. I think you probably saw it too, but we had Jerry DiPoto on my show yesterday, and he said his quote was, not likely to linger. And I didn't like that answer. Not likely. I would rather have said, you know what? It's over. It's past. And, this is, we're moving on. But he didn't really say that. But I think, the statements by both Cal and Randy, I think, should put this to rest and you kind of get moving on. I mean, listen, here's the thing. It's so hard to relate to it, but you're in competition. And this means stuff. And it really, I think, speaks to, if you look around, there are other guys that refuse to fist bump their their teammates in that environment. And, that particular situation, it was unfortunate, but it seems like it's behind them both.
Yeah, and they released statements, finally. I mean, Rosarina came back and his first statement was nothing, and then he had to release another one. It's good by the Mariners, and I think on both parties, because if there wasn't some closure to it, regardless of who wrote the statement, it doesn't matter, but there needed to be some type of closure to it. So we got it. But you've been inside these clubhouses. It's something that I don't know if it could linger or not, or if there's hurt feelings. They both said the right thing. They want to put it in the past. But, that was not just the handshake and the refusal to do it. And if that was Team USA's thing, then that was their thing. And if Randy, it was reported, Ryan Divish, Seattle Times, told me on here that, listen, he was told before the game, don't do it, and he did it anyway. So I'm sure that did not sit great with Cal. And then, of course, what happened afterwards with the reporters, that if you didn't get a stop to this could be something that could linger throughout the beginning of the season. And I don't want to say fracture clubhouse, but just be hanging over their heads in there.
Yeah, you don't need anything. Like, usually, if you're coming out of spring training and you don't have the good vibes, there's an issue usually, and there's an underlying problem. And we've seen this team. It's a really close knit team. Obviously, watching it last year, and that's what I think made it a little unusual that it just continued to linger. And it seemed like, even though as an example, Cal spoke out and said, "I love him." I've talked to him, no hard feelings or anything like that. It seemed like a lot of it was on Randy's side. And again, I'm just looking at it from afar. We don't know because we're not in there, but that's the way it certainly seemed. And then, like you said, I think addressing this, that's where the leadership part of the organization comes in. Like, hey, we need to nip this in the bud. Not just the front office, not just the manager, but players in the clubhouse. If you need to have a team meeting, you have a team meeting for it. It's a little early for those team meetings. Wait till you go through the first 5-6 game losing streak before you have a team meeting. Right. But in this particular case, you wanted to put it behind you.
All right, before we get into the season, the offseason, what they did, let's wrap up the WBC.
Yeah.
What went wrong?
Well, from Team USA side of things, and I can't even believe that I witnessed it, but the offense was trash. I mean, it was not good, and they tried, and they took advantage of some bad teams, and they scored, against Brazil. It's a weak team. They scored against Great Britain. When they scored, I think it was against Mexico, they scored 5 runs, it was just in 1 inning. When they played Italy, they scored against the weaker part of their pitching staff, which was Italy's bullpen. Luckily, Paul Skeen shoved against the Dominican Republic, or else they would have lost in that round. In the pitching. You saw a bunch of star players. Most of them did nothing in the lineup. And if I were to go back and make a recommendation from a former GM's lens, I would build a team that would be maybe 10 starters at most. The bench players are role players only, that are only going to see the field if there's an injury or a late inning replacement or a pinch running situation. They're not star players where you're bouncing Cal Raleigh and Will Smith, and then there's Gunnar Henderson and Alex Bregman and Byron Buxton and Pete Crow Armstrong. Mm-hmm. Those guys are getting whoever it is, that those 10 guys, like the Dominican did with their lineup. Those 10 guys, they're playing every single game. They're getting their at-bats. They're going to work through, because this is partly their timing aspect of it in a smart, short tournament like this. And you have to get your at-bats and all of that. If you had an injury, you just go to the camps like they do with the pitchers and bring in another guy who's also getting his at-bats, regular at-bats, and getting ready in case, and just go that route. I think that's the better way in building that particular roster. I thought they did a great job of the pitching starters. And I, personally, if Scooble wants to pitch only one time, that's fine. But match him up with a better team than he pitched against, and that he pitched against Great Britain. That's the weakest team in the almost the weakest team in the whole tournament. Or ask him to pitch in the championship round. The quarterfinals, the semis, or the finals. You know, to me, there's things like that you could do moving forward, I think. But that's where offensively it was really way too inconsistent.
Okay, at a later date, we'll probably get into, you know, what's the best date and time of year to play this? Is it where it's currently at, or there's been some talk of doing it during the All-Star break? We can table that though for later. Let's get into what the Mariners did this offseason. What would you say they did? How much did they improve? Did they do enough? They were 8 outs away from playing in their first ever World Series, right there in Game 7 with the Blue Jays. They had it. Did they follow up this offseason with enough to push them over the edge, Jim Duquette, to get to their first ever World Series?
I thought so. I really like what they did, you know, on the offensive side. And, you know, I try to do comparisons from in two ways. What were they like a year ago as of right now, opening day, and what were they at the end of the year, right? So you're building off of both of those. Where were they last year? We thought they were a bat or two short. At the trade deadline, they were 2 bats short, you know, and they addressed both of those and ended up going as far as they did. Just a tick away from going to the World Series. You know, this year I look at their offense and I like the addition of Donovan. It's hard to have a much better spring than he did. He's going to have a huge impact. And Naylor, we know what the impact was, right? We saw it last year. You know, it's in the second half, and just the whole personality and you know, he loves to hit in that park. It looks like, you know, there's a lot of things in that side of things that are good. So I think from addressing that on the offensive side, I liked it. You know, on the pitching side, you know, I think keeping their strength. Obviously, they've always done a good job of building the bullpen. Ferrer's an interesting pitcher because if he does figure out that breaking ball, his stuff is, I mean, filthy. It's filthy. I thought it might have been a little too much that they gave up, right? But you know, in the end of the day, I think he's going to end up being good, but it may take a little while. You're going to have to be a little patient with him, I think, but you got him under control for a few more years too. So I thought overall they did a good job. And I think there's more left to, you know, money wise and prospect wise, if they want to do a deal at the deadline.
For those Mariner fans who are just not familiar with Donovan, you've been able to see him on a national level because he covered the sport. What kind of player are they getting?
Oh man! First off, at the plate, he grinds out at bats. He's a on base guy. He's got a little bit of power. I feel like he is a guy that would have more power, depending on the ballpark. St. Louis is a tough park to hit in, and so as we know in Seattle, I think with his power numbers overall, he's probably a 10 to 15 homer guy. That's all he's been so far in his career. But he's an on base guy. He doesn't strike out. He's a bat the ball guy. But I really like the way he grinds. You know, he grinds out at bats. He hits good pitching. And he gives you positional versatility too. He could play the outfield. He can play third. He can play second, like that. Those guys are valuable to have, these days, more so than maybe in the past. So I really thought that was a good acquisition. I thought they were going to get him last year at the deadline. Like his name, was popping up in trade discussions last August and in July, and they ended up not moving him, but they obviously did the deal this time, and it worked out.
How does Cal Raleigh's not going to hit 60 again this year? It's not going to happen. But,
right.
If he dips down to 35-ish, someone will, is that a disappointment? It's not going to be a disappointing season because it was so remarkable what he did. How do you follow that up, though? There's got to be a pressure on the player, right, to live up to it. He doesn't seem like maybe he falls into that, but what do you think he does for an encore?
I'll look at his projections real fast. I mean, in terms of the homers, I don't see homers necessarily. I see OPS over 800. He's been a guy, as we know, he's an on-base guy as well. He does have the power from both sides. If he ended up, like you said, 35 homers, I'd feel good about it. I think he's capable of doing more than that. I mean, he was on some kind of tear as we saw. So, yeah, I agree with you. Like, you can't expect 60, but if he was a 40 homer guy catching and, DHing on the off days and whatever, I mean, that would be a tremendous season again. So I think that that's capable. I also am curious, because we talked a lot about Julio over the last couple of years and his slow starts. The last time he had a pretty good first half was the WBC year as well. And I asked that to Jerry DiPoto yesterday on Sunday, and he agreed. He was like, that we're really optimistic because he was getting ready sooner, and he got good reps for that tournament. That they're optimistic that he will get off to a good start this year too. So, I think I don't think it's unreasonable to think that he would have a better start than what he's had in the past too. So I think the two of them combined in the middle of the lineup with Donovan setting it up, that bodes well, I think, early.
Well, I mean, I think you look at what they can throw out there with Donovan leading off, Cal 2, Julio 3, Naylor, Rosarina.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good 1 through 5 right there. Now you start piecing it together what, Robles and Luke Raley, platooning there and right, Ref Snyder and Canzone. I think the Ref Snyder acquisition is kind of, I don't want to say it's an under the radar one, but I don't know if enough Mariner fans are thinking about that move. It happened, I think, a while ago. It's a really solid move. Canzone had a good WBC. So that's a nice little 1-2 combination over there at the DH spot. You've probably seen it. Cole Young, the second baseman, has just had a tearing up the spring. Hopefully it carries over there in the second half, or into the start of the season. But I think just 1 through 5, I mean, that's a pretty good group that you could match up with anybody in baseball, Jim.
I agree. And I think, what we saw in the postseason, because it's a small sample and because you're always facing the best pitching on a nightly basis, I don't want to get too caught up in it. It was clear that they were short a bat in that postseason, a consistent bat, right. And, Canzone, I felt bad for him. It was just a tough time to go through a struggle. I agree. Like, he had a good WBC. I think he's going to be, good in spots. I think, hopefully Crawford won't be out that long. He's going to go on the injured list. What we were told, what I was told, likelihood there. But I think Raley, in certain spots will be fine. At the bottom of the line is probably my biggest concern with the Mariners, and it's a mild concern because other teams have bigger holes to worry about than what the Mariners have. But I think there's enough to like there, and like you mentioned with Young, like let's hope that what he did in the spring, man. You see these gaudy numbers coming out of Arizona. The ball was flying there. It was so hot. I mean, they were playing. It was so hot they were playing games at night because the daytime it was like 100 degrees, 107 degrees. So, I always take those with a little bit of a grain of salt. But for him to get off to a good start that way, I think you can build on that in April.
You mentioned the conversation you had with DiPoto on Sunday on your Sirius XM show, along with you and Jim Bowden. He talked about and kind of teased, did he, Jim, about the likelihood of us doing something long-term with one or more of our players is pretty high. Okay, I need, come on, Duquette, I need something.
I want evidence.
Who's he talking about? I mean, I guess the first person I would think would be Logan Gilbert.
That's who both Jim Bowden and I thought he was talking about more than anybody. I thought Gilbert, obviously he's getting closer to free agency. The other one that we thought, I mean, he talked highly of obviously Kirby. He said Kirby's arm slot was in a better place than it was at times there last year. Will, because of the injuries, you got a couple more years there, although I would try to sign him up, because of the arm and how good he can be, and see if you can get a little bit of a team discount on that to try to get some control. Jerry was coy about it. He's like, hey, we're always trying. We're trying to do it, but in all likelihood, it's probably not going to happen. And I was like, all right, how hard were you really trying, Jerry? Just tell us. Just friggin' tell us. I want to break some news this week for you. But get back to your point. I felt like Gilbert, was right in their sweet spot. Hopefully they can get something done. But it seemed a little bit far-fetched, at the moment.
What do you think that looks like with Gilbert?
I think there's a couple things. Like, if he waits till he's a free agent, he might get 6 years. Dylan Cease got 7. We saw a downturn in the marketplace at the end of it with Valdez and Suarez. Suarez was 5 years. He was 30. Valdez was only 3 years at age 32. I think Gilbert's going to be, where is he age-wise? He's 20. He'll be 29 this year. So, a 5-year deal would be probably in line. I'd probably, look at it'd be under 150, probably, somewhere along those lines. You're probably looking at a club option or two. The Phillies took Christopher Sanchez and gave him a lot of money after they had just given him a team-friendly deal. So that's another one that ended up being, I think, a total of 6 years. But there's some complicating factors there. He had more service time with the Phillies than what Gilbert had left. So, I do think that a 5 plus an option would be more in line. It would, I think, likely have to be close to 150 million, something like that, which would be pretty darn reasonable in my mind, because of how good and how consistent he is. And Jerry did mention, he's like, he's got 7 pitches he was working on in spring training, which is what you do these days anyway. You got 4 against, left-handed hitters and 3 or 4 against right-handed hitters. So, he's back at it again, just, trying to figure out how to manipulate more pitches and throw more pitches at and make it difficult for hitters. Yeah. But, I would love to see that. And I think he would be a safe bet to try to sign that.
Okay. Who's going to knock him off? I mean, you could actually make an argument that the Dodgers, not that they got lucky, but, the Blue Jays, they had him. They had him for that World Series title. It's not like the Blue Jays don't spend money as well, but the Dodgers, they spend money more than anyone. They go out and get the best players. They go get Kyle Tucker. They're the odds-on, overwhelmingly favorite, the favorite to win it again this year. What stands in their way? Who, besides the Mariners, who else is in that pecking order to knock off the Dodgers?
In the National League, it might be Philly, might be Mets, might be Cubs. Those are the closest teams, I think, in the National League. I think in the American League, besides the Mariners, I only see 2 teams potentially, maybe 3, but I see the Yankees could do it. I think the Red Sox could do it. I think Toronto could do it. I don't think the Tigers or the Orioles are quite built yet to be able to knock off the Dodgers or be able to compete with those other 3 teams I just mentioned, or 4 teams rather. But I think that that's reasonable. Any one of those 4 could do it, and a lot of that's going to come down to health. It always comes down to pitching, as we saw last year. The Mariners are going to be in, provided they, like knocking on a lot of wood here, but provided they stay healthy with their pitching, they're going to be in the mix. There's no denying that. I don't see anybody in their division in the end that can compete with them. Again, providing health. And I was in Houston camp, and Houston for me was a better team than I thought when I went into spring training, but they're still not at the level of Seattle's. They have serious question marks with their rotation, and their offense isn't deep. And then, Josh Hader's on the injured list to start the season. So, I think that this is one of those where hopefully Seattle can get out to a quick start, and then, they're playing a little more offense. We've seen them blow leads over the years, but, I think that this is one where, if I were one of the other teams, I would not want to be chasing the Mariners.
All right, the Tarek Skubal after the deadline will be wearing what uniform? He's going to be
in Detroit, I believe. I strongly believe that. Yeah, I've had enough conversations, both on the record with the Tigers front office and off the record with people around the club and, inside the club, where it seems to me, unless Detroit really fell apart at the deadline, which is not likely, they're a really good team. They're going to hold on to that, onto him and make a run at him as a free agent. I don't think they're going to be able to compete with the big boys that are going to pay him. But, I'll give you an example of how Detroit could sign him. Last year he had a little issue underneath his armpit, if you recall, right at the end of the season. They bumped him from his start. But if he had a similar type of situation this year where he missed time, they understand and know him physically better than anybody. I think they would be in the mix if they're willing to pay, multi-year, 8-9 years. It's going to be at least that. If he stays healthy, he's going to be too expensive for the Tigers. I don't see him.
He's just It's going to be astronomical what he's going to get. Probably only topped when whatever Paul Skeens probably comes up soon. Is this finally the year? I've lost track how many he has. I think 3, maybe 4 MVPs. Shohei Ohtani. He does not have a Cy Young. He's talked about this offseason. All indications that he wants to get a Cy Young award. How much do you think they use him more this year in that role? Do you think that's a goal of his to try and get?
To me, it's interesting because they slow rolled him in the spring. I saw him pitching to hitters during the World Baseball Classic to his own teammates there, Team Japan. He looked really good. I think, I think he's going to be pitching in an exhibition game, and then he's going to pitch the second series of the year against Cleveland for the Dodgers. I'm really curious. They're very, very conservative with their pitchers. They're trying to, try to get them to the finish line, trying to get them to pitch healthy in the postseason too. Okay. I think there's a better pitcher on the Dodgers than Yamamoto. I think he's better than Ohtani, which is scary because Ohtani's really good. Yamamoto, holy cow, man. He has really taken a major leap forward both last year and into the spring. So, I think that with Ohtani, he will be in the mix. He always is for the Cy Young Award. I think it's more likely, trying to find somebody that can knock him off from the MVP, which is really hard. I know Juan Soto said recently this is his year. He wants to knock him off. The only way that'll happen is if Ohtani struggled offensively or he got injured, which we don't want to have in the sport. But I think it's Ohtani's to lose. It's going to be hard with so many pitchers pitching regularly for him to be able to get a Cy Young too.
Yeah. Well, we're happy and we're glad that you're back for one more year. Jim Duquette with us, of course, a former Major League Baseball GM, now working for Sirius XM, MLB Network Radio, and with us here every single week throughout the baseball season. Big thanks to Andy Largent, the crew over there at Flatstick Pub. Flatstickpub.com is the website. It's a great place to go, hang out with family and friends, great for large group events, great pizza, great food, great beer. You can play mini golf there. Their Pioneer Square location also is allowing kids in before the games for the Mariners games. So it's a great place down there to go before a game. And it's just a fantastic spot to go before and after games. So big thanks to Andy and the crew over there at Flatstick Pub. And Jim, thank you. Thank you for doing it another year. We look forward to it. And hopefully we've got a lot of baseball to talk about throughout the year, obviously, and hopefully it goes
and maybe
long
we'll
like it
see
did
you in
last
October.
year.
We've just missed each other last year.
Yeah, let's do it again. Let's you and I have a date in October again. Thank you, Jim. We'll see you next week. Excellence in dining? Visit John Howie's Steak and experience premier Northwest dining. Prime custom aged steaks, award-winning wine, unmatched level of service. You won't be disappointed. Make your next reservation today at johnhowiesteak.com. He's back, and he's more handsome than ever. And that's what I don't like.
It was a low bar, though. It was a low bar last year.
Yeah, but you would hope that during the off season, I'm sorry you got uglier, but you did not. You've got more handsome, ladies and gentlemen. Brad Adam, yes, he's back. I've got to catch myself from saying the other network. What do I say? Brad Adam works for who? The Mariners broadcast?
TV. I think it's Mariners TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mariners Vision.
Mariners Vision. Okay.
I'm going to use
Mariners.
Mariners.
On the big screen.
I'm going to use Mariners Vision until there's a official title of whatever the broadcast is. Or is it Mariners TV?
I think it's Mariners TV. But like you said, let's wait. We're all going to find out. Right? Before first pitch, we're finding out, man.
How close to first pitch do you think we know where the game is?
They just blast out emails to all their subscribers and season ticket holders.
Game starting in 2 minutes, and here's where you can watch it. All right.
Boom. It'll be the same place. It'll be the same place.
So let's, John, we want to welcome John Howie. Hi, John.
Oh, John.
John is back for another year of supporting Brad Adam and his addiction to red meat.
Oh, yeah. And he's excited about it. John's excited about it.
He's excited about everything. It's the Northwest Premier Dining Experience, their Bellevue Steakhouse and Wine Bar. Great, comfortable surroundings, culinary excellence, great wine, great views, great service, great everything. John Howie Steak. And visit the website, johnhowiesteak.com. There's also C-Star, and he's got an empire over there at John Howie. And they provide, by the way, private dining. I've been in this private room before.
Were you escorted out quickly?
I was removed, and they were said, "You're not allowed in there." I said,
"Be honest, yeah, no one in here. Get out."
But it's wonderful. Nice. Yeah, you can do anything.
It's all good. They've got their own spirits now that they're distilling, and oh man,
Beardsley Public House, C-Star, the whiskey by John Howie Catering, Wildwood Spirits. I've left something out. John, send me an email, text me. He's got everything. Get back. Here's my message to you people out there. All right, get back into fine dining. Be an adult. And get back into the fine dining experience. It's what makes us who we are.
And you know what? When you do that, dress up a little bit. Just a little. You don't have, just let's not do jeans and a t-shirt.
We're not.
If you're going to go out, nice place, let's step it up. Give me one notch above denim. That's all I'm asking.
No Lululemon. No hats.
Lulu.
No sweatshirts.
Hats, no cargo shorts.
We're going to find ourselves a blazer.
We don't need to go that far.
I think we do.
But, okay. Special occasion with the missus?
Maybe a cardigan? A
nice
cashmere turtleneck.
Cashmere. Hey, how about the patches on the elbows? Nice jacket like that?
Oh, I've got one.
You do not. You do not.
Handed
down from generations?
Yeah, but it's wonderful. It's a gray one with the brown patches.
Good.
It screams, I'll take a 4-finger pour of scotch and let's have a cigarette.
Exactly. Like I have to wear this, and this is the only one that I will wear.
Yeah, this is it. So big thanks to John. He's back with us, and we're thrilled to have him. So, and johnhowiesteak.com, book your next reservation there. Enjoy yourself a fine steak. Treat some clients. Treat your family, your friends, business associates. Get out and enjoy some fine dining and dress up a little bit.
Throw on a collared shirt. But it can be a short sleeve. It could be a polo.
Yeah, sure.
A collared shirt.
Okay, where are we gonna find you on opening day? All right, and I know they're gonna get it resolved, and it's we're gonna know before the game actually starts. But for those wondering, okay, I think people are confused. Is where's Brad? Is Brad gonna be there? Where's Angie? Tell our audience. Is it gonna look different? The same? What?
Well, the mic flag will be different. And that kind of hit me in spring training when we had a couple of games. No more red and black, no more root. I believe it'll be Mariners TV.
Okay.
And we're told that MLB negotiating to have the same channels, the same place you watched last year. So Xfinity 627, they're hoping to get the same channel, Direct TV, YouTube.
Well, they're not going to be on YouTube. They weren't on YouTube. But like Fubo,
Fubo, yes. Yeah. I thought it was YouTube. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe they'll add YouTube. That'd be great.
Okay. So it should be the same carriers, talking to them. The cast of characters are back. The Mariners have opted to continue, which I think is a great idea. The half-hour pre and post at home. So we will be out in the pen, same set.
Okay.
Same people to be Angie, Roland Smith, and Val with me, rotating with me and rotating up at the booth with Aaron. So those three, same as last year. And on the road, it'll be the same. No pregame, but I'll host a post on the road. And it should look very similar to last year, except a different mic flag. Otherwise, I think we're pretty much dialed in.
Will you have more security around you on the road so they can handle the people that are walking in front of your shot, so you don't have to then on camera yell at them?
I know. Well, that guy, because he knew better. It's worse when you got like people that work in the media, like photogs or this or that, or work with us, or it's like, come on, the grounds crew guys, they know what they're doing. Yeah. I don't mind the kids behind me on Sunday.
Yeah.
Kids run the bases.
Yeah.
But you're right. When they
don't walk right in front of me. I pay a lot of money for this pretty face.
Yeah. And if it's a player, I'll snap at a player too. Behave. It's live TV, Julio. Be better. Yeah. This is my time.
Yes,
you had 9 innings. That was you.
Yeah, this is me.
These 15 minutes, very important to me, Julio.
Right. So other than the name change, which we're going with Mariners TV, although I prefer Mariners Vision. But Mariners TV, the mic flag and all that, you're going to see you're going to see Angie, you're going to see Goldsmith, Valley, and Roland Smith.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. So nothing's really changed.
And can I throw in one more name for you?
Yeah. Who is it? Please say it. Please say it. Please. Who is it? Who is it?
They debuted last couple of games we had in spring training. Ryan Healy, former first baseman.
Healy. Come on down. I thought you were going to say Cameron Wong, but okay, fine. I'll go with Ryan Healy. So Ryan Healy is doing games.
Yeah, so let's hold on. I want to get back to that.
You want to get back to the Wonger?
Okay. So when we used to go down there years ago, we would have to do a nightly show in spring. That was not difficult. And Cameron Wong found some ostrich race that they do every year. It's somewhere in the Phoenix area. No joke.
Okay.
And so he did a story on this. And my dad, to this day, will reference that and say, man, when's Cameron going to do those ostrich races again?
One of the best stories. One of the best stories you ever did.
So I'm down last week and I see like a billboard ad for those ostrich races at the airport. I'm like, no way. They still do that. And Cameron Wong should be there.
Maybe he is. Did you check in?
I did not. I did not. Maybe he did. Maybe he goes every year.
Wow.
He's like an honorary
what if he's
starter
or something? And here comes ostrich number 2 down the road.
Ostrich races.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, so sorry. Ryan Healy, yes, he's going to do some games up here in Seattle.
Very cool.
So, yeah, it'll be fun. Cool. Yeah, get a little hitter's perspective there. Yeah. Guy was with the Mariners in 18, got hurt in 19.
Yeah.
And, but a good guy. Lives down there in Arizona. So, hung out with him. He did a couple games with Goldie in spring, and he'll be ready to go.
Because you'd rather have Healy talk hitting than Valley.
Well, that was a good one. No,
it was a good one.
It was a good one.
We teed it up, and we're all taking shots at each other because that's what we do.
Okay.
All right. There was a bar with his batting average for crying out.
I know. That was bad.
Sorry. I'll take it out. I'm going to edit it out.
Take it out. Do it for Val. But, it's a guy who played in his last year was in 22 with the Rays. So, I just think it's a little fresher perspective, a little different, so it'll be fun.
All right, you had boots. You had boots on the ground. You saw the team. You guys did a few stuff down there, and working out the kinks and stuff for TV and all the particulars. But you got to see this team. Mm-hmm. And the thoughts? What do you say? I mean, God, Vegas loves this team. Everyone loves this team. Right? This is a deep, talented baseball team. Brad Adam,
Vegas and loves them. Right, and it'll be Mariners, Dodgers. Right. Okay. 2 best odds to win to make it to the World Series.
Let's do it.
I think when you look at the club and the depth is something really, really impressive. I think that from the starting pitching to the pen, which I'm good with, and the lineup 1 through 9, I think you got to go back to, 2001-ish or even like the 95-ish team to find a team as complete as this, and one with as much expectations going in. Last year, we talked about some of the guys down there. It's like they were going to be good, or they thought they should be good, and then they really were. Now, this year, going into this, it's like they know they're good, and they're excited about the year, and kind of still disappointed that Game 7 in Toronto. They still think about that. That's some motivation as well. But these guys, it's exciting to hear him talk about it. And it's not like like a rah-rah thing, or they're not shying away from it. It's like, you know what? We're just good. We're going to come in every day and play, and we're going to take care of business, and we're going to get it done. You know,
well, they got some scar tissue from a year ago.
Absolutely. You know, you got to go through that a little bit, right?
Yeah.
To get the experience and figure out what it takes to win in the postseason. Totally different than regular season.
It motivates you. It does. It's the carrot that dangles over your head. Mm-hmm. You were so close. They were what? 8 outs away?
8 outs away, yeah. And then they add Donovan. Brandon Donovan is going to be fantastic for them.
It's a great
love
addition.
That guy. It's a perfect addition. You know, everybody's hoping Julio puts together an entire season. I can't wait to see what that year would look like if he does that.
It just feels like
ridiculous.
He's on the verge of it, Brad.
Yeah. Yeah, we said that before, but you're right. I mean, you know, he loved the WBC, and being around those guys certainly is going to help him. You know, he's talked a lot about it. Everybody asked him about the slow starts. You hope it's a little different this year, but he's very like mature, and he understands that he's still growing as a player. So he's not really worried about, you know, that. He doesn't put any undue pressure on himself. He's just like, you know, this is kind of me evolving as a player. Maybe this is the next step this year. So that's kind of the hope there.
He's only, it's
20, is he 25, 6?
He's 25.
25.
He is, but think about this. He's already entered, this is his 5th year.
Mm-hmm. Right? It's like in his prime and still coming, you know?
Yeah.
So, and you know, a few injuries that I'm not really worried about. Bryce Miller will take a few weeks to get back, which is fine. They can, you know, hold it down and with Emerson and some other guys if they need to till he gets back. And then J.P. Crawford, same thing. They don't seem worried. He's not worried. You know, if he starts on the IL, it should just be, you know, the 15 days, and they'll just have Ribas and some guys piece that together a little bit. But that's not going to be a long term. You know, we knock on wood and hope. But so relatively healthy outside of those guys. Everybody extremely motivated. Dan Wilson's got another year under his belt. I think it's just really an exciting time. I'm really excited to get this thing going against Cleveland.
Yeah, and I think that they've just it's clear when you look at what they did in the offseason, just the much deeper lineup than they've ever had before. You mentioned what Donovan, you know, brings to the table, right? It's a leadoff hitter in which they've never really had a traditional leadoff hitter. I mean, JP did it at times and it was okay. But Donovan is a different case. And, you know, what they tried last year with Rosarina, listen, there's some strengths of Randy. I just don't think being a leadoff hitter is it. But this guy he has the knack and the understanding that his role is no matter what to get on base. And I just think the defense, you know, is adequate, you know, probably better. And we'll see how he translates, you know, working with Perry Hill. You know, I just remember last year having this discussion when Josh Naylor came over and everyone was like, yeah, he's good, but he's not good defensively.
Right.
And then I'm like, he's not
fine. Yeah, really?
He's been sensational over there. And I think of it as an addition, but now that I brought up Naylor, that you start the season now with him, which, you know, obviously wasn't the case a year ago.
Yeah, that's huge. And his IQ is just, you know, you watch him even in spring games. It's really fun to watch him. You know, this game that we had, and Ryan Healy was talking about it. He was on first and Donovan's on second. And Naylor, he's always given some type of hand sign. I don't know if they mean anything, but he's always doing something on the bases, right? You watch him. And he's kind of running halfway to second. Donovan doesn't take off, you know, and then Josh is trying to steal. And then come in the dugout, and I'm sitting there next to them in the camera well. And Josh is talking to Brandon. He's like this, so nobody can see his mouth, which I don't know why he would do that. But he's talking to Donovan about, say, hey, if I say this or if I see this, I'm going, you need to go too, type of thing. It's just amazing things that he can pick up. He's just so smart watching the game. But those two guys are you know, really solid, and have him for a whole year is huge. And, you know, your point about Donovan being a leadoff guy, he's not going to try to pull or try to hit home runs. I think JP got a little, you know, home run happy the one year where he did hit some home runs. So Donovan's not a guy who's going to change his approach, you know, to try to be something he's not. He's just very confident and content with getting on base, like you said. So that's a huge addition. And Luke Raley being healthy, he's had a great spring. He's fantastic. You know, it feels fantastic. He and Robles sharing right, and then Canzone. with a bat too, and Rob Refsnyder, another addition to mash lefties.
I like the Refsnyder move.
I do too. I mean, you look at the numbers, and he's like over 300 against lefties, so he could really just dial in on that. And they're just, the bench is good. You've got Brian Bliss, I guess, probably, we'll see him a little bit. So I like where they're at. Cole Young has had a good spring.
Yeah.
Cole Emerson. Yeah. Cole Emerson looked really good too. We'll see him this year for sure. But yeah, it's just, it's a lot of optimism. Yeah. Fun. Sure. But also guys who've done it and you expect them to do it again, and not a lot of question marks with the team. So that's very impressive. Kudos to the front office for getting such a complete team. Getting some guys that they needed to get and improve in the offseason, like a Jose Ferrer out in the bullpen, another lefty, so Spire doesn't get so run down. It's just everything really matches up well for them this year.
Yeah, they again. It's just, and it's going to come down to health. Like you can say that for every team. They just got to have the same starters, make as many starts they possibly can. It's disappointing that Miller is not going to be ready to go in the beginning. I know they're not worried about it, but again, it's just another thing with Bryce that's unfortunate that delays his start of the season, or at least gets in the way from him completing a full season. And for JP, it's just certainly worth monitoring that with the shoulder. But this is a team that it felt good on paper too a year ago, and then in the beginning, and then you were Robles, whatever, the first ninth game of the season, 10th game of the season, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they've got finally where it feels like every position is taken care of. There's a role for everyone. Where it always kind of felt like mix and match with the designated hitter spot, where now they're like, well, we have our designated hitters are Canzone and Refsnyder, and that's where they're going to play, and they're going to DH most of the time, unless we give perhaps Cal a break and Garver catches, and then they can move Cal to DH if they want to. So they certainly feel a little bit more solid than they did a year ago. Were you surprised that Garver ended up making it?
A little bit, because they signed Kisner to a major league deal. I think it was $1.1 million, and Garver was $2.25 if he made it. So I mean, they're paying a little bit more, but I think just the spring he had. I mean, if all things being equal, right, you want to bring the guy back who's got a good relationship with the team and the clubhouse, a leader in the clubhouse there, a good relationship with Cal and also the pitching staff, and knows him. So it's like, yeah, we'll just bring you back. So I like it. It's a good move. He hits lefties well throughout his career, and is really good with that role, right? I mean, he knows that Cal is the show, and he's there to do whatever he can to help Cal and help the team. So I like that move, and on paper you can look at anybody in the division and you say, and you can see why the Mariners are favored, right, in the West. Houston and Texas, and I take the team, Puck, that might finish. Now, they might not finish second this year, but getting close is that damn A's team. What are they called?
Are we still calling them the Sacramento A's?
For another 2 more years.
Is it 2 more?
2 more, man. They're starting to build that stadium, but let's see if they build it. I'm still not sold.
I think they've broken ground.
Yes, but they're so cheap and they're so bad. We'll see if they complete that. I could see it being like a spec house or something. The guy runs out of money, just sits there. So we'll see. But man, I mean, to their credit, they've signed a couple of those kids to some deals, and their lineup is, I think, second to the Mariners in the West. Now, they have no pitching, but I mean, they could be sneaky kind of good, getting close to Houston and Texas. But yeah.
Hey, when you were down there, did you get your eyes on Ryan Sloan at all?
I did not. I did not see him. Yeah, I wanted to. I didn't even see him in the clubhouse or walking around.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw, highlights like everybody else. It's like, woo, right?
He's just
20-year-old, woo. Yeah.
He's a real exciting, he just kind of has that bulldog mindset as well. He's just a real exciting player, and got a lot of young talent. You mentioned Emerson. Cole Young just had a great spring, and you just hope it carries over, because these guys have great springs. And I know the weather was just so warm down there, so the ball's traveling all over the place. But You hope it can carry over here to the start of the season for these guys. So,
and not too bad weather-wise in Seattle. So,
yeah.
it's supposed to be 50s the whole series.
That's not bad. That's not 100. Not 100
for March, but these guys will take it. They were all saying, "I can't wait to get back and get out of this." They smartly moved all the games to night games, which allowed for more golf. But Puck, even for me,
you couldn't get out. You can't handle that weather. You're not built for it.
Did it once, and I wasn't built for it.
You're not built for it.
I tried the electrolytes, drinking. I thought I was being smart.
Still couldn't do it.
Swing just fell apart.
So you think what prevents them from playing in their first ever World Series? Just injuries?
I think so. So. I mean, you could say like, if this guy doesn't hit, if this guy didn't, but but there's not many question marks out there like we talked about. I mean, Cole Young, still a question mark, sure. But everybody else has kind of done it at one point or another, which you really like and have a lot of confidence with, not just the offense, but also that staff and Munoz closing and Brash getting back healthy. I don't see, there's not a more complete team. There might be maybe a more dynamic offense, maybe. But pure team, I think you didn't want to say, hey, they won the World Series. But I think you're right. I think being a favorite and being a team that can look at and say, if we're healthy, right, who's going to beat them? So,
were you able to talk to Cal? And I'm just curious, with everything that happened with Randy and all of that, just putting aside whether it's going to be an issue or not in the clubhouse, and they came out with their statements that I wrote at the Puckett crisis from the Mariners.
Thank you,
but that's okay.
You don't think Randy wrote that statement?
I don't think so. But I asked this. Cal is such a team first guy, and he loves to avoid distractions.
Yes,
but that WBC experience was a whole distraction. List all of it. He didn't play well. He doesn't play in the championship game.
Or the semis.
Well, but they were going back and forth. They were rotating the whole time, which we could debate whether that was the right idea or not. And then the whole thing with the Rosarina. And I just wonder how he has taken that. Because the perception of he's just about team first guy and never wants to be the headline up for other than just helping his team win. I'm just curious of how he's maybe dealt with that personally, and I guess from a mental standpoint.
Yeah, I was able to just chat with him for a little bit. He, didn't talk to the media for a couple days when he got back from the WBC.
But he makes time for you.
Well, it was, off the record. You know what I mean?
Well, you're the guy.
I think that he, like you said, is a team guy, and there's nothing there with him and Randy from his standpoint. Randy, maybe a few days after, as he continued to mention things in social media and his posts and stuff. But I think now that they're back and they understand what's going on. And I just think Cal talked about it. He's talked about it twice now, and I think that he's done with it.
Yeah.
But as you and I know, the season starts with us, the home opener. Then you've got Apple Friday, and then Peacock Sunday. So 2 national games. So what do you think their stories are going to be?
And the Yankees coming to town right after.
Yankees, right. So what do you think the stories are going to be with those guys?
Why do you hate Randy or
why do you hate Randy? So he's going to have to continue to answer questions, and he's not a guy that seeks out the media. Let's say that.
No,
he doesn't love the media part of it. He understands his obligation. Certainly last year. I mean, he had to talk because he was setting records every day. So it's not him to go out and seek attention or, any type of controversy or anything. So, we get him through the first week of the season. I think everything dies down, and I think people let it go. I think the players certainly have, but there was some truth to Randy being upset about that. And so, I think he's over it now, and I think that they're ready to roll. I think so.
All right. Well, it gets underway. The long season. You're living out of a suitcase.
Here we go.
On Mariners TV.
Gonna say bye to the kids.
Say bye to the kids. Don't worry. Fake dad will be moving in soon, and then
Hold on.
Get to know him.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. Nice.
He is nice.
He could probably do your damn taxes.
Yeah,
which I can't.
You can
turbo tax my ass.
Yeah.
We will continue it. Obviously, update the Mariners throughout the season, and also middle daughter, the senior.
Yeah,
college choice is still out there, but she went out and made the Bellevue High golf team. Hasn't played in over 4 years. I had to find her clubs.
Yeah.
Luckily, Jason Bayes, one of his daughters, had clubs. Had to buy her shoes.
Oh, a little name drop.
She makes it. Little name drop. She makes the team.
How about that?
Come on. So I'll update you.
Go out there and caddy for her?
Yes. I can't caddy, but I can, and I can't give instructions, but we have some hand signals, you know? like if I think she needs like a 9-iron.
There a niner in there?
There a niner? P wedge. What?
Did I say, numbers are great. Counting 8 is great.
Think about it.
Yeah.
110 to the flag. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll let you know how those go. See if I get kicked out of any course.
Some people are using driver here, but that 1, 2, 3, there's some wood over there. All right. When's our first match?
They have had one. Now she is at the very bottom, so she tees off last. That works. That was. She tees off last, and she got through like almost 8 holes.
Okay, great.
So yeah, so hopefully they play a little quicker. Maybe it's more light, so she can actually finish 9 holes.
Hey, grip and rip.
Yeah, they score 6.
Yeah,
they play 10. They score 6. So I don't think that she'll ever get to score, but keep playing.
Don't know.
Keep playing. 2-time defending state champs. They're pretty good.
Yeah, grip and rip.
Grip and rip. That's what I tell them. Just swing
follow
hard.
Through. Get on that left. Get on that front foot.
That's my only advice. Just swing hard. Your back doesn't hurt like mine. Just swing hard.
Swing as hard as you possibly can.
Who cares where it goes?
Yeah. She got a 10. Is she going old school 10-finger grip?
Yeah. She's baseball. Yeah.
I've gone back to it. I've gone back to it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I don't correct it. I'm just like, just grip it, whatever.
I'm telling you.
You turn it over? You don't like hook it with that grip?
No, not as much.
Okay.
But boy, I'm telling you, it adds some length.
Really?
You can whip through it.
I might go to that.
Just try.
I'm
I've got
always
small
trying
hands
for
like a child.
Yeah. I've gone to interlock, but now I'm doing over the top. Now you do straight
over
baseball.
The top. Over the top. No way.
All right.
God, no.
All right.
All right.
I'm excited.
We'll see you every week. I can't wait. Thank you, John Howie. JohnHowieSteak.com. Brad Adam every week. Thank you, Brad.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. Breaking things.
Unlike when I had to go to the Kane Brown concert in Arizona with my family.
Kane Brown.
I felt like one of the prisoners in Guantanamo Bay.
That's what it was like to go watch Kane Brown. I thought Kane Brown was popular.
Yeah, not for me though.
Yeah, it's not for you.
It was at that Extra Innings Festival in Arizona. So it was about 87 out. Let me tell you, you could the collective clothes that all the women were there, you could put it in one ball and it wouldn't fit. It would fit in the back of a Volkswagen. And unfortunately, while there was a lot of good seniors, there's a lot of women that should not have been wearing those clothes.
Yeah, that's right. You gotta know your spot, right? You gotta know your role. Yeah. Well, here we go. It's back. Baseball season is here.
Can you play the music?
Well, I don't have it queued up. We did play the music. Wink, wink. We played the music coming into it. Although I can find it if you want. We can play the music.
No, it's all right. It just gives me a little. I mean, like Mel Allen, This Week in Baseball.
Oh, this week. Hold on, I've got it for you. Give me a second, just for you. Hold on.
It's just, I don't know what it is about like that, like the good musical score of like something like that, or like, you know, the theme song for Hard Knocks when they show them training. Like I did a highlight. I did like a video for Twitter for Tyson and Macy one time, and I used the Hard Knocks theme song. And like I had this start, you know, they do the like it's like that start. I have Macy like lacing up her shoes and stuff, and then she's going over the box. It's like, I mean, I listen to that. It's like on my workout mix. You know, you put that one in, you got the and then like because Tyson looks like Ivan Drago. I got the Ivan Drago one where, you know, the Rocky's running up the mountain and Drago's on the treadmill. Like there's something about it. Like I need that as like my alarm every day when I'm pissed off mid-season and I don't want to get up. You know,
so when people call you, like this would be your ringtone.
Yeah. Oh, my alarm clock in the morning. Yeah, it's like my current alarm clock. I have two.
Do it.
I'm sure I can find it. Like my current alarm clock, I have Welcome to Jamrock by Bob Marley. And then I also have Firehouse, Don't Treat Me Bad. And they just go off. So, cause like the guitar beginning of Don't Treat Me Bad by Firehouse comes on. I'm like, yeah, let's go.
So it's back. See? You're excited, ready for another season. And of course, we couldn't do it every week. We could not do it every week without Reggie Frederick and his family there at Chalet Bowl, Washington's oldest operating bowling alley. They've been serving the community since 1941 there in historic Proctor District, located 3806 North 26th Street, Tacoma, Washington. Give them a call, 253-752-5200. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. They've got bowling leagues. They're open for birthday parties. School's getting out. You got things to do. Take your kids, take your family to Chalet Bowl and go visit chaletbowl.com. Big thanks to Reggie and the crew for doing it for one more year. So it's good to have them back on board.
Is Reggie in India?
I don't know if he's. No, I think he's.
I thought he said he texted me. He said, I'm in India. And I
well, here's the thing with Reggie.
That guy's never anywhere.
That's the thing. He's always going someplace, and every time he calls me, he's going to some new place, and he always calls me from the loudest possible place he could possibly be in. So I can't hear him. I can't understand him. Like, I can't hear you. Call me back. And they'll call me from a louder place. So he's back. So thank you to Reggie. Thank you to Chalet Bowl and the whole crew over there. Somehow they think this is good money to spend on once a week. It is because of you, Ryan Divish. You are the voice of the beat that covers the Los Marineros. Man, there's a lot of people. People are excited. Boy, World Series. You guys in the paper, every one of you except for Debbie Downer Calkins picked him to play in the World Series.
But Calkins is he's always a nonconformist, or he'll always go against. That's what he is, you know. And so, and I respect that on a lot of levels. But you know, the guy just consumes. I think he drinks like 5 protein. Have you seen Calkins lately? He's like ripped, like muscular. He's getting to be like Carrot Top, like Bill now.
Geez.
And so he's just he's just lifting all the time and everything. So.
That's not
I
me.
appreciate Reggie. I love Reggie. He'll send me texts, and I'm terrible about texting back, but he's great, you know, and you're right. He's always doing something somewhere. It's like, I'm glad he believes in me the way Washington State believes in their basketball coach, David Riley, and the money sticks around, you know, like sorry, man. As we're in the middle of the NCAA tournament and you guys feel farther away than ever.
It's unbelievable. It's terrible.
You know who they should hire? There's a kid from Tacoma that's an assistant coach for Gonzaga named RJ Barsh.
RJ Barsh. All right. Fine.
The Barsh family is played at Lincoln High School. They have good connections. I don't know if you saw some of those 2 kids at the Tacoma Dome, but you know,
well, those 2 sophomores are good. The point guard and the small forward.
Justice Holt. Yeah, Justice Holt, and then the point guard.
Is he the big forward?
Yeah, and then Davion, and oh my God, like I was cheering for my boys in Lincoln. I love the Lincoln kid coming out and saying, you know what, we don't got transfers like that.
Yeah, awesome. Well, like Tacoma doesn't recruit or do anything like that.
Oh, no, but that's Bellarmine Prep that does that. My boy Bobby, but I can't even hate on Bellarmine Prep because my boy Bobby
Prep underneath the bus.
No, God. I can't. I love Bellarmine. My boy Bobby Moorhead, former Grizz basketball player, huge Mariners fan, is the head coach there. So sorry to get sidetracked, but
it's okay.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I sat and watched while I'm down in Arizona, and like on my iPad, I had NFHS watching. I love the state basketball tournament. I love
it. It's the best. The absolute best. It's one of the best things we've got going on in this state. It was not a good game. That was a runaway.
That's also a cheap technical foul on the. That was a cheap technical foul on the Eastside Catholic kid in the semifinals too.
Oh yeah, that made me happy. That was a rough one. Yeah, that really changes momentum for those boys. All right, well, we started. There's so much momentum going into this season. Yeah, I mean everybody is expecting them to be in the World Series, and I think we could make this fair assessment of them right now as they go into opening day. This is the deepest team they've had since when, in your opinion?
18,
do you have to go to 2001?
16, maybe 16 or 18.
Oh, 16. Okay.
16 and 18, they were. I mean, like 18, they had Segura. I mean, like they had Segura, D. Gordon, Nelson Cruz, Robinson Cano, Kyle Seager. Trying to think who else they had. They were decent. They were pretty good. You know, like their first 6 guys were really good, but these first 9 guys are pretty good. That's the difference. Yeah. Like, this is better. They're better than those teams because they're deeper. Their pitching staff is better. I mean, that's a pitching staff at 16 that had Hisashi Ukuma at his peak, Felix. You know, they had some guys. But this, you know, and 18 they had Paxton, and you know, so it's like 18 they also had Mitch, I believe, right? I'm trying to.
Yeah, it has to be probably.
Yeah, Mitch, Marco, like they had, those were good teams. But this team is just better. Like, so, I mean, I started in 06, in August of 06 at the News Tribune, and I had to cover the White Sox series right away. Like I'd been at the News Tribune for about a week, and they had me go up and cover the White Sox series. And it was because Darren Bean didn't want to cover the series. He was the national writer because LaRue was gone. And he didn't want to cover it because AJ Brzezinski wanted to fight him. And so it was like, I had to go up there. And like literally
AJ Brzezinski wanted to fight who? Larry LaRue or Darren Bean?
No, Darren Bean.
Why did he want to fight Darren Bean?
He wrote some column or something about how after Michael Barrett punched AJ Brzezinski, that the world wanted to punch AJ Brzezinski and something like that. And he wrote something. And so it was like just kind of an offhand comment. And Brzezinski, it was in the so like for years, AJ Brzezinski would check your tag to see if you were Darren Bean so he could like have words with him. And me and AJ talked about this like last year about it. We were dying. I was laughing. Hey, I had my first games at the TNT as a full-time employee were the White Sox because one of our guys was afraid. He goes, Darren Bean, I ain't that guy. He was screaming at me. I was just dying. So,
and they always try to tell you that they never read the newspaper.
Oh, they read everything. Either that or their family reads it, you know. So So since 06, and I mean like 08 was my first year, full spring training. And I didn't really know what I was watching, and I didn't know how to judge when a team was good. And I thought that 08 team was going to be good because they were good in 07. Then they added Bedard. They added Silva, who was supposedly good. Like, I didn't realize that John McLaren wasn't like ready to be the full-time manager, and like they had some issues. And, you know, I listened too much to what they were saying, and I thought they would be good. Like 10, I didn't know if they would be good or not because, you know, they brought in Figgins and Cliff Lee. I thought Cliff Lee made them better. But like I've never, since I've really gotten into this, I've never picked them to be this good ever. Like last year, you know, in 22, if you recall, the Times had our special section said, this is the year they break the drought. You know, and we were right. It was kind of like that Sports Illustrated thing about the Astros will win the World Series. You know, so I was like, we were right. And I still thought like so many things had to go right. And like that year in 22, I didn't expect Cal Raleigh to hit 26 home runs or whatever that year. He, you know, I wrote about it in our special section story. He was sent down that year to start the season. So I've never, you know, even last year, I think I picked them to win 89 games. I didn't make the playoffs, but I didn't pick them to win the division. I didn't know they would be this good last year. This year, like I think that they're good. Everybody around baseball, the fans, but I think there's a reason why, because like logically you look at the team and what they did in the offseason, because they haven't had an offseason like this either, where they went out and got guys that they needed and filled them and like did what they wanted to do and did stuff that people actually like respected. But it's like, for me, I knew that like Brendan Donovan was good and Refsnyder were good just based on what I knew about baseball and looking at their numbers and talking to people. But then when you watch those guys up close and see how they interact and see how they do stuff and what they're doing in games, like I get it. And then when you're watching Luke Raley hit an opposite field homer 400 feet and run the bases and look fully healthy, you're like, okay, like this is better than what, like when they face a right-handed starter, and they're going to have Raley in left field and Canzone as your DH, and what Cole Young is doing to pitchers right now, like that's as good of a lineup as I've seen them roll out. I mean, you're going
with
Julio,
Donovan leading off, and then Cal goes left side.
You're going Donovan, Cal, Julio. Then you're going Naylor, Randy, Canzone, Raley, Young. And now it's Rivas, but it'll be JP. Like JP Crawford has a career like 345 on base percentage, and you're going to bat him ninth. He doesn't strike out a ton. I mean, like if Cole Young is batting eighth, like that's a pretty good lineup. And then like against lefties, all those, lefties, you'll bring in Robles and whatever. And you have Refsnyder, who's got a higher OPS against lefties than most normal guys. Like, it's just a better option. Like when you look at a lineup, like last year when they had to play, you remember in that San Diego series where they had Adrian Morejon came in, like he's the most nasty left-handed reliever in all of baseball. And they had Canzone, Cole Young, and JP bat against him. Like I went back and looked. There was not one time last year, I don't believe, where Adrian Morejon faced three left-handed hitters in a row, because you just can't. He just kills them. And predictably, he struck out all three on about 11 pitches. Like, they're not going to do that this year. And the guys that they're putting into these platoon are real guys. They're not like some quad A guy that they're just trying to hope will do something. So yeah, this is something we're in new territory here. The era of unbridled optimism.
You know what's gone under the radar? I want to circle back to Donovan, but it was gone under the radar. But I think you and I talked about it at the time when he signed, because it happened so early. I think of the process was Refsnyder. And I think that move, I don't know, it's probably got lost a little bit in the offseason. Maybe it was swept under the rug, but he's got a chance to have a real impact at something that they desperately need, right? And another bat coming off the bench, but also a guy that you just talked about can split time there at DH. I guess you can play him and in the outfield if you need him to. But and again, maybe he's just a guy that we haven't discussed enough about what potentially his impact could be with his team.
No, we haven't. And like I had several scouts tell me, and even some other like kind of like couple assistant GMs tell me that was one of the smartest signings that that was in all of baseball this year. Just given how because the Mariners are super left-handed heavy. So to go out and get a guy that hits lefties better than probably, 85% of the league, that was so smart. And, he is such a hitting nerd. He reminds me so much of Justin Turner. So him and Donovan are always in the cage. Like they're the biggest collection of cage rats I've ever seen down there. Donovan will be in there for 4 hours. Like the other day we were walking out, it's about 30 minutes before first pitch or 40 minutes before first pitch. Donovan's in the cage just sweating and taking hacks. It's 100 degrees out. He's in the cage just taking hacks. I'm like, oh, he must not be playing today. No, he was in the lineup leading off. Like, it's just these guys, they have the way it's set up. These guys, they're hitter kind of nerds. And I think that's big. You talk about how much Justin Turner helped Cal Raleigh a few years ago in his approach and everything like that. I mean, like having these guys around is going to be big.
What about going back to Donovan? Again, he has that great press conference. I play like my hair is on fire. It just seems they've added guys that are coming there ready to go to work, just baseball guys. And Donovan just kind of feels like kind of the dictionary definition of them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like you can throw out all the good stereotypes, the cage rat, the gritty guy. But like he just has, when you watch him on a daily basis, you can understand why so many teams are so interested in him at this offseason and trading for him, and why the Cardinals were patient in trying to wait it out, trying to find the best deal, because he's super valuable to any team. Like, I watched him the other day. They had him out at second base just to get some reps out at second base in case he has to fill in there. He's outstanding at second base. And look, you watch the plays he's made at third base, the balls charging in, that's like the hardest play to make. And that was like, I remember when Kyle Seager shifted over to third, that was one of the ones, the charging, the slow roll or the bunt, when do you go to the bare hand, throwing on the run across your body. Like, he works at it so much that, like, I've never been so impressed with a player. Like, I didn't know a ton about him. I knew he was good, but then when you watch him, you understand why he's good. And I think his on-base percentage in spring training was 600. Like, he hit 470 in spring training. He got on, like, he was like 600. He got out. Every time I looked, he was on base.
And this is why a worrywart like me, all I can think about is that,
because it won't carry.
Is because Brendan Donovan and Cole Young have been so dynamic in spring. There's just no way, Divish, that it's going to carry over to the start of the season.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't think he'd keep
it's a terrible way to live. Well, I know that.
No, I know. But, like, and that's the thing is, like, you have to judge, and, like, people say, it's all spring training, don't get excited. It's like, I'm not getting excited about the results, like, that it's a homer, because there's a ton of spring training homers, and look at how many sun balls turn into doubles. But when Cole Young, his average, exit velocity is over 96 miles an hour on balls, and he's hitting balls to the pull side hard and hitting fastballs at 95 and up, then you're excited, because that's what he couldn't do last year towards the end. And Donovan, it isn't just that he gets hits, it's how he goes about it, that every time he gets a hit, it's usually 3-2, and the pitcher's 8 pitches into the count, and he's battling, and it's like, they're going to have slow spots, but I mean, how they go about it and the process that they're doing it at, I think, is more indicative for their future success than just the numbers,
Okay, so you kind of brought something up there that I want to touch on with Donovan and Young. Obviously, they've had great springs. You see the numbers. If you haven't been watching the games and just see the results, just see the box score, you're like, oh my God, this is great. You can, right, good or bad, get enamored with what the numbers are, right? If they're bad, you're like, oh my God, this guy's going to really, really struggle and it's going to be a disaster to start this season. Or you can go the other way like we're doing with Donovan and Young and get so super excited. But you've watched it and you kind of touched on it a little bit there. What about the process? Does the process for Cole Young look different than last year? I mean, because obviously the results are, but what about the process? Because even if he were hitting like the 120, but if they were good ABs, they're good ABs. But what does it look like to you?
Yeah, I mean, like, the process, well, he looks different. First of all, like, physically, he looks trimmed up. Like, he looks real athletic, He found I was teasing, I was like, dude, you found a weight room this offseason. And of course, being called bro, I know. Yeah, he's like, he goes, I go, cut into your Fortnite time. He goes, no, I still got that in though, because he's still 20 years old, man. Like, we always, Daniel Kramer has the funniest thing. He was like, yeah, so one time, like, we got a buyer, and so we got some beers, and we played Fortnite till like 4 a.m. Like, it's like his impersonation of Cole, like, just how he talks, like, because he's a 20-year-old, now he's 21, but he was 20. I think, like, physically, he looks different. He moves better. Like, if you've seen him at second base, I think when you reshape your body the way he has, you feel more athletic in the batter's box. You also look like he cleaned up some of his swing path. Like, the bat is a little flatter through. It's not as steep. He still hits line drives. I think I was watching him one day. So, like, he hits with this guy, Eric Ferris, who's a AAA coach, in the Cages pregame, and they set the machine up, and it's probably 45 feet away, but they had it cranked up all the way, and it was to simulate a 99 mile per hour fastball. And they had it at an angle running into him one day when they were facing a righty, and they have it at 98, and he is just pounding. Like, he's not just hitting it, like, he's getting in a position where his foot is down and he's hammering it. And I hear somebody go, damn, 112 off the bat. The guy's 5'10". He's not very big. Like, he has the snap through. And so, like, the way he loads his swing now, when that front foot hits, it's just like so fast through the zone. Like I kind of compare him to Michael Young in the past. Not like this is different. Michael Young didn't hit for power like this. It snaps through so quick and so fast. Like he made these adjustments and it looks different. And that's the one thing. He prepares to hit the velocity. He has that thing cranked up. He uses the trajectory more than he ever has. Like, I just think he's in a better place. And the ball that he hit the other day that they said was 478, and the MLB walked it back and said it wasn't 478. That was only closer to 450. It was a slider off of Matt Festa, a real reliever, a slider that he hit that far. Like, he's got a better understanding of what he needs to do. And he understood that, like, they beat him with velo last year. That's 95 and up. He wasn't very good. Well, he's been a lot better because he's changed some things up in his approach and his swing. And I think that's real. Like, you're making quality contact on those pitches that you were struggling with last year. That's the adjustment. You know, that's the process. You know, examine your weakness and go for it.
What a luxury to have. I mean, again, if he doesn't even put up these numbers that he's doing in spring, which he's not going to, but whatever, it gets close to that or half that or a quarter of it, whatever. What a luxury to have a guy like that hitting eighth in your lineup. I mean, listen, we've heard a lot about Cole Young coming up, and you know when he came up last year, it was a great start, and then it cooled down. But you got him down at the bottom of the order, being able to do that. I mean, that's just.
I mean, what if he's like, obviously, I don't know what the percentage, the home run per plate appearance was, but even if it was close to that, you're talking probably 15 to 20 home runs in a season. Like, what have they gotten from the second base position in terms of production since Robinson Cano? It's been, you know, the curse of Robbie Cano. You haven't got anything from that position. Now, granted, they haven't really put real dudes there. You know, they try out Shed Long and Dylan Moore and all these different guys. Like, this guy is a real prospect that they've groomed, you know, and like, it feels like Cole Young, you know, if he stays right and stays true, like everything that he does, like it could be everything that, like, remember what Ackley was like that first year and everything. Oh, it could be this. Like he's more athletic than Ackley. You know, he can do things differently.
Yeah, he looks different. I was just watching, you know, the highlights from last week or Friday, and just the 2 home runs. You're right. That athletic stance that he has and how fast he gets through it. Yeah, Ackley never had that. I mean, he never looked like that. I mean, Cole Young, even being 5'10", I mean, he's built for like a kid that's at 5'10". I mean, he's a solid looking ball player. Well, good for him.
And
man.
that's why and I think they knew that he had this potential. That's why they wouldn't include him in any trades. You know, they just weren't really interested in that. And you know, another thing is like that stretch he had last year. I believe it was like for 40 games where he was, you know, really, really good. Like if you have 40 games like that, that's pretty telling that you have a chance to be pretty good in the big leagues.
All right. So we talked Donovan. We've done obviously Cole Young. I mean, Cal. I mean, I listen. I don't know what the encore is going to be for Cal Raleigh, but he's probably not going to get close to 60 again. But I don't know. I mean, everyone's just saying, "Oh, there's just no way he's going to get there," and I don't know. Maybe he does. I have zero clue.
I mean, if he only hits 40, what was the record for catchers? 45.
48.
Yeah, I mean, like if he hits 40 to 45, I mean, like, come on, that's pretty damn good. I mean, the thing is with him is the volume. If you get him 700 plate appearances again, there's going to be production. He's just that good of a hitter. You know, it's like Julio.
You've covered him for years. You guys got a good relationship. I'm just curious about the not so much just the Randy stuff, okay, but that's part of it. But the other fallout from the WBC that they didn't win. He didn't get to play all the time. That was the idea going in. They were gonna switch off and on. We can debate whether that was the right decision. I think most people agree that he's a better catcher than Will Smith. Overall, it's not like Will Smith is chopped liver though, but I think overall he's a better catcher. But then it gets to the championship game, and it's the first time they decide not to go back to their switching. They essentially benched him for Will Smith. I'm just wondering from his psyche, of how this experience of the WBC has affected him, if at all.
I think it's probably motivated him more than anything. It's like, hey man, you didn't believe in me, like, you know. And it, like, look, I like DeRozan. He's always been really good to me. I just felt like he was a little over his skis at times. I mean, that happens, like you don't manage all the time, and the one thing is like when you're not a full-time manager or whatever, you're trying to make everyone happy. And I just don't know that you can.
Right.
Like I understood the decision to go with Will Smith at least start the game, but I felt like when you need a home run late in the game, like maybe go to the guy that hit 60 of them last year. I think the biggest thing, the fallout from the WBC was like, Cal is so used to playing so much and getting so much work in. And like he realized, and like Julio knew it was going to happen. Like he did some stuff differently because he'd already played in WBC. Just like you don't get the work in that you normally do during a spring training day when you're there because you got all this other stuff going on. And so like when Cal came back, like the first day he gets back, they're giving him a work day. He says, no, can I be in the lineup? So he gets 4 ABs, goes to Mesa across the valley, so he can get 4 plate appearances against the A's, strikes out 4 times or 5 plate appearances, but also hits a double with the bases loaded. And it was funny is like, he didn't come through, but then all of a sudden when the bases were loaded, everything sort of clicks and he hits the ball off the top of the wall. Then the next day, so that he plays that night, by the time you get home, whatever, it's 11, he's back at the complex at like 5 and asked to catch Logan in a B game when the temperature at first pitch was 96 degrees. He catches the B game, not just the 5 innings that Logan threw, but the next 4, got 8 plate appearances, walked 4 times, had 2 hits, and then wants to be back out there again. And so, I think that's the thing is like, it's almost like, me and you in college cramming for a test. It's like he's trying to get in all that was lost from not getting his work in during the WBC later, but he seems to have done it. I think he'll be fine. I don't know if there's any mental thing there he might use as motivation, but you understand. The one thing like Cal has never been, he's never been a diva. We've talked about that. He's never had that diva quality. I remember when Teo Hernandez, when they came back from the WBC a few years ago, he said he's never going to play in it again because he didn't get to play as much as he wanted to. He felt like he'd been promised he was going to start. So I'm not doing that. Like Cal is coach's kid. He understands the process. So I think he'll be better, but like, yeah, I don't know that there's any like major fault. He'll do it again if they ask him. I mean, I'm sure he will because then he's going to use it. Or I've learned from this, I might change these things up, but I think he'll be fine otherwise.
Julio Rodriguez, we talk about this all the time, getting off to these fast starts. I mean, he's answered it a million times. And, obviously I don't know what he's done differently this offseason. Anything from him, how he's addressed this to get off to these better starts in the first 3 months? He always warms up, right around the break, but out of the gate, it's always been has been a struggle for him.
We talked about it a little bit, and I know I wrote the story early on. It's just like he's just in a better place in terms of his identity as a hitter. I think in years past, every year he was trying to improve something, or he'd have voices and people telling him he needed to do this or that, and he would listen to the point sometimes where I think it worked against him. But I think like he's just in a better place, and I don't think they're messing with him. They're what they saw at the end of last year, they just said, hey, just keep doing that. Keep that approach. And I think we wrote about like he had to have kind of that reflection time during the All-Star break and just some hard questions about himself and who he wants to be as a player, and I think we saw that. And even we haven't seen him a ton, but the balls he's hit the hardest this spring have all been to center and right center, and a lot of his hits. I mean, that's a good sign. Because what happened was, I think, when they had Brant Brown and Service and those guys, they were telling him, hey, you need to pull the ball in the air more. Because, you look at it, you look at the data, and that's where all his damage does. So you're telling him that. But like what he processed didn't lead to that result. If anything, it worked against him because he was trying too hard to do it, getting out in front, just off balance. When you're trying to hit it out in front unnaturally and trying to pull it, that's when you get the falling over in the batter's box and unathletic. Like what we saw last year, even what we've seen this spring, he's just in that more controlled, athletic kind of setup, try and just hit the ball where it's pitched, not do too much, hit it hard to center and right center. And then when they do make the mistake you're in a better position to pull the ball hard. I think, you've coached young kids. The kids that try and pull it all the time, they're just in a bad position to hit other pitches. I think he got it in his mind that he had to do that because they were also telling him that he had to do that this is how you're going to lead to success. This is going to get you 45 homers and everything. But I think at some point he just realized that, hey, I can't hit like this. I can't be this guy. I have to go back to something more simple that works for me. And what works for him is the ability to drive the ball to right center with authority and then, pull the balls when he's on time to do it. And I think that's why I think it could be better this spring and this early in the season. Of course, everybody's going to watch it though and monitor it. And he's going to be wanting to, because it's like these guys want to start off slow. It just, sometimes it takes a little while to feel. I think playing in the WBC and having those high intensity game at bats will be better too as well.
When do we expect to see Bryce Miller?
I would conservatively say a month.
Okay.
Why rush it the way Emerson Hancock was pitching in spring training? Yep. Why rush him back and have him deal with it all year? The one thing is he still had the elbow issue last year. If he's babying the oblique, could that put more pressure on the elbow, make that crop up again? So just take your time. I know he had the full send bullpen the other day is moving forward, but now you got to do the full buildup, right? If you're going to do that, start him off, one more heavy bullpen, 2 more live BPs, then you bring him into game action and start doing the rehab there. So I wouldn't think we'd see him, conservatively for a month. You might see him a little bit sooner, but why rush it? Especially if Emerson's pitching if Hancock's pitching the way he is now, or what he was doing this spring, at least with the multiple breaking balls, I don't think you need to rush Bryce. I think you just take your time. It's a luxury to have it that way.
And then with JP, what's kind of the best case with JP?
Yeah, I think the 10 days maybe, if he's throwing again. I know he was throwing some of the lighter plyo balls and stuff like that against the ball. Once he starts throwing again, 10 days, I think it's 10 days for position players, 15 days, whatever the minimum stint is. I think that could be it. I just think it would be illogical again to rush him out there. You have Rivas, you have Bliss can, serve as your bench guy. And you have a better lineup than you've had in the past. It sucks not having him, but why force it again? If you don't want it to be an issue all season. I think that's the big thing is when it came back this last time, because it's something he's dealt with every year. I think last few years. We all deal with it. You throw a whole bunch early, you get sore.
Sure.
When it came back after playing again, that's when they got concerned.
What prevents them, Ryan? What prevents them from winning the ALCS and getting to the World Series? Is it simply just injuries?
Yeah, I think it's with anyone, it's injuries. I think they're in a better place to withstand some of the injuries, but you lose a guy like Julio for a while or something like that hurts you. Hurts you defensively, it hurts you from all aspects. It's not just injuries, it's injuries to the wrong person. If you can offset it. Victor Robles gets hurt, but it's one of your core guys that gets hurt, because it's not just offense, it's defense and what they do. And so that would be the biggest thing. I look at the rest of the AL West. I don't see any world beaters out there. And I don't think any of them are as good. I think they'll have trouble. I think the A's will cause plenty of problems for teams in the AL West and just in general, because their first 6 or 7 guys are really good. And that park is a bandbox. So that can mess up your pitching for a weekend and stuff like that too. So I think injuries would be the only thing.
Yeah, they won. You won 90 games a year ago. They were 90 and 72. And they're significantly better or however you want to define it. But to add Donovan, to see these other guys that they have, the fact that you got Josh Naylor now to start the season rather than adding him at the deadline.
Yeah.
It's good.
You won 90 games last year and Logan missed 6 weeks, George missed 6 weeks, and Bryce missed 3 months.
Yeah.
You're piecing it together, and then also, they won 90 games and they didn't have Naylor. They had Naylor for the last 35 games, Suarez the last 35 games. Like we said, they were playing guys, they were putting guys in positions where they weren't going to have optimal success because you're playing a bunch of lefties against left-handed starters, but they didn't have any other choice. I think they're better off now. And then, you look at what they have in the minor leagues, Colt Emerson we'll be ready to go here in a couple of months. And if Brennan Davis gets healthy and he's putting up numbers, you have a right-handed bat that you can bring up at some point too. So like they have some guys that can help them down the road here as well.
All right. He's back for another year. Follow him on social media at Ryan Divish. Read all of his work, seattlettimes.com. Get yourself a hard copy. We're proud, lucky to have him back for another year talking baseball every week with us. And big thanks to Reggie Frederick and Chalet Bowl. Go book your next reservation, chaletbowl.com, to go do some bowling with the family and friends. Well, Godspeed,
this Wenatchee
sir.
Valley hat, this Wenatchee Valley hat that I'm wearing, it's got a Yankees look to it. And man, my face is so fat. I look like Jabba Chamberlain right now when I'm staring at my video
You do.
on me in the mirror.
You actually
That's not
do.
good.
Yeah.
I don't want to look like Jabba.
Well, hit the gym. Hit the gym.
When I have you telling me to hit the gym, then I feel
hit the gym.
Hey,
start running around.
You know, I was going to mention the only other reason why the Mariners wouldn't win this year. You know why they wouldn't win?
Why?
Jim Moore bet on them to win. Paid Jim.
Jesus, did he? He didn't put
He's
money.
The cooler,
oh yeah,
dude.
He's gonna put money on him. Ollie, he got me this.
He already
week
did. He
week.
already said he. I think he already put money on him to win the American League. He's the cooler.
Don't worry. He'll and if they lose the first few games against Cleveland, he'll swear them off though. So
look what he did to Lucas
against
Oberg, for God's sakes.
Well, you bet on him too.
Yeah, but I also bet on Cam Young, so I was okay.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to thank Matty Fitzpatrick for hitting that putt on 18 the other day too.
Yeah, oh, yes. Hey, good job, Matty. It was good bounce back. So you think World Series? You said it in the paper, right?
World Series, yeah.
Okay, but lose to
They'll
the
get
Dodgers.
to the World Series. Yeah.
No one can knock off the Dodgers.
No.
Okay.
Only the Dodgers can knock off the Dodgers.
All right. We'll see. Well, it'll be fun. It's going to be fun next few months. And Divish will be along for the ride with us here every single week. Thank you.
1-2. Ball game! The Mariners win! Seattle, you've waited long enough. It's time.